It's me again. It's been a while, huh? My beard's starting to fill out. Losing more hair. But, yeah. The last 6 months, crazy stuff, man. So, this room looks different, right? Still the same shed. A couple months ago, my brother's like, hey, want to move? I'm like, yeah. I don't really like this area so much. Too much crime. Not very good people. I mean, obviously there's a couple people here that are kind of nice, but... So, he's like, yeah, I'm going to move out of the main house. I'll move in with you. And I'm like, yeah, I can kind of free up some space. Make that work. That way, our older brother, who's keeping the house, can try to get a roommate. I'm not super optimistic that he will, but that's our plan. Because hopefully within like a year or two, we're not going to be at this house anymore. But yeah, for 3 months, been working on this, procrastinating a little, played like Minecraft for 2 weeks straight. Ups and downs mental health wise, but right now I think I'm doing pretty good. Wanted to go over a few projects, a couple things I was working on. Started filming a few. Deadlines happened. Other crazy stuff happened. And that's what we're doing today. To start, we're going to go back to the summer. Back in June, I had a problem where my well wasn't pumping. After doing many tests, I determined the pump was bad. In the beginning of July, I had ordered a new pump and built a jig for us to raise and lower the new pump. I'm not going to lie, pulling that pump was probably the most strenuous thing I've done all year. So that had officially solved my well pump issue, but now I had a new issue. Even though we cleaned and sanitized the well using the bleach method, and spent a couple hours pumping out as much sediment from the system as we could, after about a month we were still experiencing cloudy water. There's still a couple different reasons that this could happen. First off, the bottom of the well was entirely muddy. When I pulled the pump initially to test it, when I put it back down, you could actually feel the bed of mud it was sitting on. The new pump was thinner and more powerful, and I believe it was stirring up all the sediment in the bottom. Secondly, I think I turned on my water softener a little too prematurely. It accumulated too much sediment down in the bottom, and no amount of flushing did anything. Seeing as it hasn't been serviced for 14 years, I think it was due for a media swap anyway, which I'm going to cover in one of my next videos. While I still don't have the water softener in right now, the water has cleared up in the last 5 months to where it's just a little hazy. The next project I wanted to talk about, I actually started about a year ago. My work let me take home a discarded propane tank that they couldn't recycle, so my original plan was to make a grill for my father. But I ended up finding him a good clearance grill and put this project on hold. So it wasn't until I finished working on the well pump that in the end of July I started putting it together to use for vacation. Unfortunately, with everything going on, I ended up finishing it and not recording much at the end, but I think it did turn out alright. Another project that I was attempting to work on at the exact same time was modifying a TV for outdoor use so it would be brighter. I got it to the point where it was functional, but I didn't have enough time to finish the case because, as it turns out, I needed to replace the wheel bearing on my car. Luckily, because I've done it before, I had the equipment and all I needed to do was order the bearing from Rock Auto. When we did go on vacation in the middle of September, it was a little chaotic in itself. We loaded up my little car way beyond its capacity, and we went to that campsite that I made a video back in 2022. Unfortunately, the timing wasn't too great because a hurricane was on the way, and we were absolutely blasted by wind the entire time. At the very least, we were able to get into the water a little bit, although not very deep because of the high surf. It definitely was a unique experience. Now, after the vacation, I did modify the grill. Although it's still not finished, I now can use either charcoal or propane. So that pretty much catches us up to the time where I start working on the bedroom. Obviously, he wanted me to try to get it done as quickly as I could, so I really didn't prioritize taking pictures or video. The worst factor was just budget, because really I'm working off of almost nothing, and I actually did manage to buy drywall for about $2 a sheet. Realistically, the only things I paid full price for were replacement wall outlets, the 2x4s, drywall mud, and the window blinds. Everything else I purchased was damaged or clearanced or stuff that I already had lying around. And on top of that, although he doesn't have much money at all, he ended up repaying me for most of it. So yeah, that's probably about 80% of what I had worked on this year so far. I'm going to try to do a little bit better at actually filming the stuff that I work on. So if everything goes well with this move, it's going to be a very interesting next 2 years.